Since Kawhi Leonard and Paul George decided to make the move to the City of Angels, there has been a combination of disappointment and bad luck. This duo instantly put the franchise as the odds-on favorite to win a championship, which will obviously be their first one. But in their first year, the Clippers gave up a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets in the second round of the playoffs in Orlando. And last year, when they actually were in a great position in the playoffs to make it to the finals, the Clippers' curse reared its ugly head once again. Late in Game 4 of the second round against the Utah Jazz, Kawhi Leonard suffered a partially torn ACL. But nobody besides the Clippers knew how bad the injury really was at the time. The team just announced publicly that he was day-to-day with a knee sprain. It wasn't until after the Clippers were eliminated when the basketball world knew how bad it was. Even though they did reach the Western Conference Finals for the first time in their franchise history, it was another year of failure for this team that had so much hype 2 years ago. Like I said earlier, Kawhi did suffer a partially torn ACL, but more than likely it's going to take the same recovery time as an ACL that is fully torn, 12 months. This injury was in the playoffs, and you have to remember that the NBA season was pushed back a little last year. He suffered that injury on June 14th, and he had surgery a month later. So 12 months from that date would be during the next offseason. And with Kawhi's cautious approach to injuries in the past, there's a great possibility that he could miss the entire year. Would you really want to bring him back too early? This is a player that you just re-signed last offseason to a 4-year, $176 million contract to stay in LA. But the Clippers did go into the season with great optimism. You had Paul George coming off a great playoffs where he exercised some of his demons by leading the Clippers to the conference finals. They have enough talent around Paul George to challenge for a top 4 seed in the Western Conference, even without Kawhi Leonard. Even though many people believe he will be out for the season, Kawhi himself indicated a potential desire to return this season. Team sources indicated that those on the team were impressed with Kawhi's progress and are cautiously optimistic about his potential return this season. But the recent news about Paul George maybe have changed the mindset of the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. PG injured his elbow on December 6th and missed 5 straight games. And last Saturday, it was revealed that George tore his UCL in his right elbow and will be out about a month. A definite big blow to the organization. The plan going forward for PG is just to rest, and he will be reevaluated in about 3 or 4 weeks before deciding on the next step of his recovery. Who knows what the situation will be in the month? Will he eventually need surgery? Will it require more rest? Will the Clippers take a nosedive in the standings? The Clippers have been able to keep their heads above water so far in this season. They are currently in the 6th spot in the Western Conference with an 18-17 record. PG is averaging around 25 points, 7 rebounds and 5 assists, and 2 steals per game as the number 1 option on the Clippers. If there is any question about the health of his elbow, then the Clippers need to play it very cautiously, especially with Kawhi recovering from his injury. There's no need to make a bonehead decision and rush either one of them back on the court before they're ready. Sometimes you got to take a step back to take a huge leap forward. This situation definitely reminds me of the 2019-20 Golden State Warriors, the season after Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson had devastating injuries in a pursuit of a championship. Obviously Durant left for Brooklyn, but Klay re-signed with the Warriors and had to endure a long road to recovery after tearing his ACL in Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals. Going into that next season, the Warriors had to rely on their best player, Steph Curry, to put the team on his back and elevate this team throughout the regular season, and hopefully there was a chance that Klay could come back before the playoffs. And just after 4 games into the new season, Steph Curry ended up suffering a broken hand. He drove to the rim and collided with Suns big man Aaron Baines, who attempted to draw a charge and ended up falling on top of Curry's hand. It took 4 long months for Steph Curry to return. This is so similar to the current state of the LA Clippers. Just like with Klay, Kawhi suffered a torn ACL in the playoffs, putting his return for the next season in jeopardy. And just like with Steph Curry, PG ended up suffering his injury during the following season. the Warriors had to take a step back to be able to put themselves in the current position they are in right now. Injuries allowed some of the young guys on the team to finally get meaningful minutes. The Warriors front office and coaches were able to evaluate them to see if they had what it takes to be part of the future. Players like Jordan Poole and Warren Toscado Anderson were two players in particular that seized the moment and have become important players to the Warriors' current title run. That's the same strategy the Clippers should play. Don't allow Paul George to come back until he's absolutely ready. And at this point, I don't feel like it's reasonable to try to justify bringing Kawhi back with PG down with an injury. Meanwhile, just like with the Warriors, the Clippers should be playing some of their young guys and give them more meaningful minutes. Specifically the 3 draft picks from this past summer: Keon Johnson, B.J. Boston, and Jason Preston. Now, Preston had surgery on his right foot in early October and is expected to miss a significant part of the season. So there's a good chance we won't be seeing him until next season. Before PG got hurt, Keon Johnson and B.J. Boston had been getting some playing time here and there. Of these two, Boston is the one that has been the most impressive. He has really shown how talented of a scorer he can be. I mean, he was looked at as a top 5 pick before the college basketball season started last year. Regardless if NBA scouts rated him too high, they had to see something in his game to warrant that kind of praise at the top of the draft. Maybe he needed another year to develop his game. Him and Keon Johnson were sent down to the team's G League affiliate for a chance for those two to get minutes and develop their game. With his play in the G League and a couple of games in the NBA, Boston reminded everyone that he could be the steal of the 2021 NBA draft. And he is already making history. Behind his career best game, Boston became the second youngest player in NBA history with 25 points, 5 threes, and 4 steals in the game, only behind LeBron James. Johnson has been playing a lot less than Boston, but he has had his moments, but mostly in the G League. He is not really known for his offensive game. He's all about elite athleticism, defensive potential, and high energy. With PG sidelined for at least 1 month, and also Preston, if he can come back this season, should be getting a lot more minutes. Tyronn Lue needs to see if one of these young guys can be in the rotation next season permanently. With the Golden State Warriors, a player like Jordan Poole has developed into a high-level role player already. He no doubt has shown he's ready to deliver for a team destined to make a serious run at an NBA championship. The Clippers more than likely won't make another big move with their roster. So trying to develop a possible hidden gem that's already on your roster is the best thing that could happen for a team like the Clippers that have one of the highest salaries in the league. Finding cheap talent is how you win championships. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do it right now for future NBA content.